Millionaire's son drowns, and only the humiliated maid jumps in to save him. The Cavalcante house was full of important guests. 200 fancy visitors drank expensive champagne and celebrated their company's merge with a global group. Leaders, famous business people, and artists were in every part of the $15 million home. Renata Santos carried a heavy tray, trying not to be noticed among the crowd. At 29, she had learned to blend in at that house. As the Cavalcante's housekeeper, she knew it was better if she didn't get noticed. But today, Veronica Cavalcante was in a very bad mood. "Renata!" Her boss's voice was sharp and clear. "Come here now." Everyone stopped talking. All 200 guests looked at the woman in her plain uniform. Veronica, 35, was artificially beautiful, with many operations and pricey care. Her dress cost more than Renata earned in a year. "Yes, ma'am," Renata said quietly, walking closer. "Look, everyone," Veronica told the fancy guests near her. "Our housekeeper spilled champagne on the Italian sofa. That's a loss of $15,000. Renata was confused. There wasn't any stain on the sofa, but before she could speak, Veronica poured her own champagne on the couch. "Of course. There, now clean it using your hands. I want everyone to see how a bad worker is dealt with." The silence was thick. Nobody stirred. Renata felt her eyes sting with tears, but she knelt down and started cleaning the champagne with her bare hands. 200 people saw her shame. "How sad," one of Veronica's friends laughed. "That's why these people are not good for anything else." It was then that Renata looked up and saw Enrique Cavalcante looking at her. Her boss stood nearby. His hands held tight, jaw set. His dark eyes met hers for a moment that felt endless. Enrique stepped forward as if to act, but Veronica was faster. "Enrique, my love, come meet Mr. Matsumoto. He wants to put more money into our plan." Enrique paused, still looking at Renata on her knees. For a moment she thought he would finally speak up, but he looked down and went with his wife. "See that, Renata?" Veronica whispered, so only she could hear. "Not even my own husband cares for you. You mean nothing, and after this party, you will be gone for good." The threat scared Renata deeply. Veronica's voice sounded different this time, more risky. She finished cleaning the sofa in silence under the disgusted and pitiful looks of the guests. When she stood up, Veronica had already walked off laughing loudly with her friends. But someone saw everything very closely. Lucas, the couple's 8-year-old son, was hidden behind a pillar with his new phone. He had filmed all the shame his mother caused the only kind person in the house for him. And last night he had heard his mother's phone talk, which made him very scared. 15 minutes later, the party moved to the pool area. A band played music and champagne never stopped flowing. The guests were lively, talking and laughing loudly. Lucas was playing near the pool with other kids. The pool was deep 4 meters, around 13 feet at its lowest, and had a fake waterfall that made bubbles in the water. He had promised his mother he would stay away, but it was tough to resist. Enrique was speaking with Japanese business people about growing the company. He made hand signs showing charts on his tablet, but now and then he looked for Renata among the staff serving people. Renata was in the kitchen cleaning fancy glasses. Her hands still shook after the shame. Each glass cost more than she earned in a month, and she made sure not to break anything. It was then that she heard steps coming closer. "Renata!" Enrique's voice made her quickly turn. He stood at the kitchen door, his suit a bit creased and his hair messy. "Mr. Enrique, I need to finish washing these glasses." She spoke with a stutter, but he came in and shut the door. The kitchen felt smaller. "I'm sorry," he said, his voice a bit rough. "I'm sorry for not doing anything, for never doing anything." Renata stopped washing the glasses. It was the first time he had spoken to her, and his words felt like a blow to her. "You don't need to apologize. I know my role here." "No." Enrique moved closer. "You shouldn't face this. You shouldn't feel this pain." Her eyes filled with tears again. "Why are you telling me this?" Enrique paused as if finding bravery for something. "Because I cannot stay quiet watching you in pain like this." Quiet filled the space between them. Renata felt her heart beat fast. In recent months, she had seen him looking how he always showed up when Veronica was too mean. The little secret gifts in her room, a chocolate, a flower. "Mr. Henrique, this isn't right," she whispered, but she couldn't step back when he got closer. "I know it's not right. Nothing in my life is true. My marriage is fake. My wife is, you know what she's like. And he stood right in front of her. "I always think of you." The words stayed in the air like a secret truth. Renata felt her legs get weak. "This is crazy. I'm only a housekeeper." "You are the most daring person I know. You look after my son better than his real mother. You make this house happy." Henrique lifted his hand and touched her face. "I needed you to know." Renata closed her eyes for a second, letting herself feel his touch. "And now what do we do?" Before Henrique could answer, they heard a sound at the door and quickly moved away. The door opened and Lucas ran in. "Daddy, Mom is searching for you. She said you were gone." Henrique gave Renata one last look. "I will find a way," he whispered just to her, somehow. He left with Lucas, leaving Renata by herself, her heart beating fast. Outside, Lucas smiled to himself. He had filmed everything on his phone and knew this film would matter a lot, especially after the talk he had heard yesterday, his mother on the phone. "Don't fret after the party today. She will have an accident, and it will seem like one." Lucas didn't fully get it, but he knew his mother planned something bad for Aunt Renata. It was almost 4 p.m. when things turned upside down. Lucas was playing near the pool edge, trying to get a ball that fell into the water. His wet shoe slid on the marble floor, and he fell back into the deepest area. For a few seconds, nobody was concerned. It was common for kids to fall into the pool, but Lucas didn't come back up. "Lucas!" one of the other children yelled. "Lucas isn't a good swimmer." It was as if someone had stopped a film. 200 important people, business owners with billions, leaders who ruled the nation, froze, watching an 8-year-old boy drown. Henrique was 10 meters, about 33 feet from the pool, when he saw his son vanish under the water. He let go of his tablet, which broke on the floor, and ran. But when he got to the edge and saw Lucas fighting 4 meters, around 13 feet below, a weird thing occurred. He froze. "Someone do something!" Henrique screamed, but his feet felt stuck to the ground. "Please, someone save my son." TV cameras kept filming. 200 rich adults saw a child dying and nobody moved. Some yelled for help, others took out their phones to film, but nobody went in. Veronica at last saw, when she heard the yells, ran to the pool, saw her son sinking, and started to scream loudly, "My son, my baby, someone save my son." But she didn't go in either. Lucas had been under the water for 40 seconds when his strength started to go. He tried to surface, but it was too deep for his little legs. Water got into his lungs and he felt things fading to black. It was then that he saw someone jumping into the water towards him. On the other side of the garden, Renata was gathering glasses when she heard the yells. She ran past the crowd of rich frozen people. She saw Lucas drowning and didn't hesitate. While 200 important people watched doing nothing, she pulled off her apron and jumped fully dressed into the cold pool. The water was more cold than she thought. Renata was not a strong swimmer, but her panic gave her amazing strength. She swam to Lucas as he was going down and held him tight, fighting to get him up. The boy was nearly passed out, but still held her. When they surfaced, both were struggling for breath. Lucas spat out water, but he was breathing. "Hold me tight, Lucas," she whispered in his ear. "Don't let go." The people at the edge finally did something. Henrique was no longer frozen and was at the edge, reaching out his arms. "Give him to me!" Henrique shouted. Renata pushed Lucas toward his father, but the moment she let go of the boy, her strength was gone. She had used all her power to save him and could no longer swim. That's when she banged her head on the marble edge of the pool. The noise was awful. A blood patch grew in the water and Renata went down. "Renata!" Henrique had just got Lucas out when he saw her vanish again. The boy was in his arms, coughing but living when he understood the rescuer was drowning. This time Henrique didn't pause. He gave Lucas to someone and jumped back in. The water was bloody red, and he had to swim deep to find Renata down below. When he got her up, she wasn't breathing. "Call an ambulance!" he shouted, bringing her from the pool. Now Renata was pale and quiet in his arms. Henrique put her on the ground and started mouth to mouth, feeling desperate. "Come on, Renata," he said softly between breaths. "Don't leave me." Now the people watched quietly. Cameras filmed every second. The entire country of Brazil was watching one of the richest men in the country trying hard to kiss his housekeeper alive. After what felt like forever, Renata coughed and spit out water. She slowly opened her eyes, feeling puzzled. The first thing she saw was Henrique's face above her with tears falling down. "Are you okay?" he whispered, gently touching her face. "You saved my son." Renata tried to sit up, but the headache hurt badly. She looked around and saw 200 people looking as if she was a marvel. Some cried, others filmed. "Lucas," she said in a rough voice, "is he okay?" "He's fine, thanks to you. You nearly died saving my son." It was then that Renata saw the scene, wet bleeding with her boss, comforting her before all of Brazil's high society. Veronica was nearby, her face full of pure hate. The ambulance sounds came closer, but the harm was already set. The pictures were shown live across the country. Within minutes, the internet blew up. All of Brazil was talking about the brave housekeeper and the scared rich people. São Luís Hospital had never got so much notice. Within 2 hours, many TV vans filled the entrance. Reporters yelled questions, and hundreds of people packed the sidewalk with signs for the brave housekeeper. In room 302, Renata was passed out, hooked to machines. The hit to her head caused her brain to swell, and doctors said she had to be watched for 72 hours. Henrique stayed by her bed the whole time. "Mr. Cavalcante," Dr. Martinez said, coming in with her test outcomes. "The results are better than we hoped. The swelling is going down and there are no lasting harm. She will likely wake soon." Henrique breathed a sigh of relief, holding Renata's cold hand. "And Lucas, your son is completely well. He didn't drink much water. He was very lucky." "It wasn't luck," Henrique said, looking at Renata. "It was her." Outside, Lucas was in the hall, still in his damp clothes, holding his cell phone. He wouldn't talk to anyone but Aunt Renata. Veronica came in like a storm. She had spent 2 hours trying to fix the public harm, but was losing the fight. Social media was full of complaints about the family. "Where's my husband?" she asked the nurse. "Room 302, but only family can." Veronica didn't let the nurse finish talking. She went up the stairs in high heels, leaving costly perfume and anger behind. When she opened the door and saw Henrique holding Renata's hand, something inside her snapped. "What a beautiful scene," she said with a sneer. "The prince looking after the princess." Henrique turned slowly. His eyes were red from being so tired, but there was something changed in them. A strong will Veronica had never seen. "She saved our son, Veronica. She saved him while we just stood there and watched." "Oh, what a hero, and now all of Brazil is calling us scared because of this." Henrique cut in, standing up. "Watch what you say carefully. Or what are you going to dump me for a cleaner? This brave woman did what I should have done. She showed more bravery in 2 minutes than I have in 15 years of marriage." Veronica realized she had lost her grip. Her husband had never talked to her like that, never fought back. "If you think this story will have a happy end, you're very mistaken. I will ruin her." "No, you won't," the voice was heard from the door. Lucas stood there holding his cell phone with a face too serious for an 8-year-old. "What did you say? My love?" Veronica tried to force a smile. "I said you won't harm Aunt Renata." "Why are you talking like that? Mommy wouldn't harm anyone." Lucas stared right into his mother's eyes. "You said it yesterday on the phone. I heard. You said she'd have an accident after the party." Veronica's face lost all color. You misheard, dear." "No, I didn't, and I recorded it." Lucas showed his cell phone. "I filmed you talking, and I filmed other things too." Veronica's world fell apart right there in the hospital hallway. Her son had filmed her talks. He had proof. "Let me see that phone." She reached out quickly. "No." Lucas ran behind his father. "Daddy, Mom wanted to harm Aunt Renata. She said it would seem like an accident." Henrique looked at his wife with great fear. You were planning to harm Renata." Of course not, it's a kid's made-up story. But Lucas was already playing with his phone. Want to hear I have everything recorded? Veronica knew she was caught. In a rush, she tried to snatch her son's phone, but Henrique held her back. Don't touch him, Henrique, please hear me out. I've heard plenty. Henrique picked Lucas up. We'll speak to the lawyers tomorrow. Veronica stood alone in the hall, seeing her husband and son leave. All she had made, all her power, was falling apart, and worse, she didn't even know what else Lucas had filmed. The next morning, Brazil woke up to the same news. The film of the housekeeper saving the boy while 200 rich people just watched was in all the paper sites and social media. National shame, headlines yelled. Courage has a name, Renata Santos. Scared rich people watch child die. The hospital was surrounded. Crowds stood at the door yelling Renata's name. Signs with People's Heroine and Renata Our President covered the streets. Inside the room, Renata at last woke up, slowly opened her eyes and saw Enrique asleep in the chair next to her, holding her hand. Lucas was curled on the sofa, still gripping his phone. "Hi," she whispered. Enrique woke up at once. "Renata, thank goodness you're up." "How did I get here?" "You hit your head after saving Lucas. You nearly died." His voice shook. Memories came back slowly. The party, the pool, Lucas drowning. "Is he okay?" "I am Aunt Renata." Lucas leapt off the sofa and ran to hug her. "You saved me." Renata hugged the boy, feeling a strong ache in her head. "Of course I saved you. You're my special boy." It was then that the door flew open. Veronica came in like a storm with lawyers following her. "All right, enough with the show." Veronica stood firm at the foot of the bed. "You saved the child. Very good. Now let's sort this out like grown-ups." Henrique stood up. "Veronica, get out of here." "I won't leave. This woman changed our lives completely. Now all of Brazil is talking badly about us because of her." "Because of us." Henrique fixed her. "Because we did nothing. And now you want to leave me, ruin our family because of a cleaner?" The silence broke with Lucas's strong voice. "Mommy, tell Aunt Renata what you said on the phone yesterday." Veronica froze. "Lucas' son, you misunderstood." "Yes, I did. You said she was going to have an accident, that it would seem like a true accident. You wanted to harm Aunt Renata." Renata looked surprised from Lucas to Veronica. "Is that true?" "Of course not. It's a kid's made-up tale, isn't it?" "No." Lucas played with his phone and hit play. Veronica's voice was heard clearly from the device. "Don't worry. After the party today, she's going to have an accident, and it will look like an accident. That woman won't trouble my family again." The room became completely quiet. Veronica's own lawyers exchanged surprised looks. Henrique looked at his wife like she was a monster. "My God, Veronica, you were going to end her life." "No, that's not what I meant. There's more," Lucas said, playing with his phone again. "She's speaking of other things, too." Veronica tried to snatch the phone, but Henrique held her back. In despair, she turned to Renata. "Look, I'll give you $500,000 to vanish from our lives. Take the money and leave. Forget any of this took place." Renata looked at her for a long time, then gave a small smile. "You know what's funny, Veronica? Yesterday I was only a housekeeper you could shame before everyone. Today all of Brazil knows who I am and who you truly are." "You don't know who you're dealing with," Veronica said sharply. "I know exactly," Renata said, trying to sit up. "And you know it too. That's why you're so afraid." The door opened again and many reporters pushed past guards. "Renata, how does it feel to be called a country's hero? Are you going to take the family that shamed you to court? Is it true you got a movie deal for your story?" Veronica realized she had fully lost control of things. The housekeeper she had stepped on yesterday was treated like a queen by all of Brazil. And she, the rich and strong boss, was hated as a country's bad guy. She rushed out of the room, leaving the lawyers and a family no longer hers. Lucas leaned into Renata's arm and whispered, "Aunt Renata, will you be my true mom now?" Renata looked at Henrique, who smiled for the first time in a while. "If she wants to," he answered. "If she wants to, we will be a true family." Outside, Veronica heard the clapping of the crowd yelling Renata's name. Her ideal life had fallen apart in 24 hours, and bad things were still to happen. 3 days later, Renata at last left the hospital. Outside, hundreds of people yelled her name, holding signs and flowers. All of Brazil was in love with the brave housekeeper. "I can't believe all this is because of me," she said to Henrique in the car. "You showed bravery when no one else did. Of course people have strong feelings." Lucas was holding on to her hand. "Aunt Renata, are you going to live with us now?" Henrique and Renata looked at each other. Over the past 3 days, they had spoke much about their feelings and the future. "We don't know yet, sweetie. The things are complex. Because of Mommy, because of many other reasons." When they arrived at the mansion, they found Veronica putting her things in bags in the main bedroom. Pricey clothes were spread across the bed, and jewels were being put into boxes. "Glad you're here," she said without lifting her head. "I need to talk to you." "We have nothing to discuss," Henrique replied. "Of course we do." Veronica looked at Renata angrily. "Mostly about this woman being in my home." "It's not your house anymore. My lawyers have already asked for a divorce." Veronica stopped packing. "Henrique, you can't mean that because of a cleaner." "Because of the woman I love," he replied, drawing Renata near him. Veronica's mouth fell open. In 15 years of marriage, Henrique had never said he loved anyone else before her. "You love her." "I do, and I will marry her as soon as our divorce is done." Renata felt her heart beat fast. It was the first time Henrique had talked about marriage. "This is crazy. You've only truly known each other for 3 days." "We've known each other for 3 years," Renata said calmly. "And I love him too." Veronica turned red with anger. You charmed my husband. You ruined my family." "Your family was already ruined a long time ago," Lucas said from the doorway. "You just acted like we were happy." "Lucas, my love, you don't get it." "Yes, I do. Mommy, you are unkind. You were always unkind to Aunt Renata, and she never did anything bad." Veronica felt like the ground vanished under her feet. Her own son was opposing her. "Fine," she said, going back to packing angrily. "You will all be sorry for this." "Where are you going?" Henrique asked. "To a hotel, and then I will fight for my share for half of all you own and to keep my son." Lucas rushed into Renata's arms. "I don't want to live with her. I want to remain here." "You don't decide that," Veronica said sharply. "I'm your mother." "A true mother is someone who cares, who loves, who guards," Renata said, hugging Lucas. "Mother is not just someone who birthed you." Veronica took her bags and went to the door. Before leaving, she turned around one last time. "Enjoy these happy moments, because I promise they won't stay." After she left, the house became quiet. Lucas broke the quiet. "Dad, were you serious about marrying Aunt Renata?" Henrique knelt down before his son. "I was. What do you think?" "I think it's wonderful, then she'll be my true mom." Renata felt tears in her eyes. "Lucas, I already love you as if you were my son. And I love you as if you were my mother." Henrique hugged them both. For the first time in years, he felt he had a true family. But outside in the car, Veronica was on her phone. "Ricardo, it's me. Plans have changed. We'll have to hurry things along." The next day, Lucas was playing in the yard when he saw his mother drive up. She had returned, but she no longer looked fancy as usual. She was messy with red eyes. "Lucas, my love, come here," she called. The boy paused but came closer. "Listen, son. Mommy did some bad things, but she did it for her family's love." "And what wrong things?" Veronica breathed in deeply. "Remember the talks you filmed on your phone?" Lucas grew watchful. "I remember. I need you to erase everything. Those are private talks that might harm Mommy." "But you said you were going to harm Aunt Renata." "I wasn't truly going to harm anyone. It was just upset, just words." Lucas looked at his mother's eyes. "You're lying again." "What do you mean?" "You always lie, like when you said you loved me but never played with me, like when you said Daddy was happy but he was always down." Veronica felt a sharp pain in her chest. Her 8-year-old son saw all her untrue words. Lucas, if you don't delete these films, Mommy could go to prison. And if you go to prison, will you stop being unkind? The simple question made Veronica quiet. I don't know, Lucas. I don't know. It was then that Henrique showed up at the front door. Veronica, what are you doing here? Talking to my son. You can't be here. There's a legal order to stay away. The legal order is to keep Renata safe, not Lucas. Henrique approached. Lucas, go inside. No, Dad. I want to say something. Lucas took his phone from his pocket and touched the screen. Mommy, I filmed more things than what you said about Aunt Renata. Veronica froze. What other things? You talking to Uncle Ricardo about the two of you leaving together and about you never loving Daddy. Veronica's face went white. Lucas, you misunderstood. Yes, I did. I want to hear. Lucas pressed play. Veronica's voice was clearly heard from the device. Oh, Ricardo, I can't wait for us to be far away. 15 years of faking love for this man is harming me. At least when we're in the United States, I won't need to fake anymore. Henrique closed his eyes. 15 years of marriage summed up in one harsh sentence. Henrique, I can explain. You don't need to explain anything. He opened his eyes, and they were full of deep sadness. Now I understand why you were always so cold so far away. Is there more? Lucas said, playing with his phone again. Lucas, stop. Veronica tried to snatch the device, but Henrique held her back. Let him talk. A new recording began. Ricardo, after we remove the housekeeper, it will be easy to rule Henrique again. He'll go back to being the love-struck fool he always was. Henrique looked at his ex-wife like she was a monster. You truly hate me that much, Veronica. These films were misunderstood. No, they weren't. Lucas interrupted. I heard everything. Mommy never loved you, Dad. She only likes your money. Veronica saw that she had lost everything. Her husband looked at her with dislike. Her son saw her as untrue, and there was still filmed proof of everything. All right, she said, standing up. You won this fight, but the war is not at all over. Veronica, stop making these threats, Henrique begged. Agree that it's finished. Never. She looked right into his eyes. I will ruin you all, mainly her. Mommy, Lucas said in a downhearted voice. Why can't you be good? Veronica looked at her son for a long moment. Because the world is not for good people, my son, and one day you'll get that. She got in her car and drove fast away, leaving dust behind. Dad, Lucas asked, is Mommy going to harm Aunt Renata? Henrique held his son on his lap. I won't allow her ever again. But inside the house, Renata had heard everything from the window, and for the first time since the accident, she felt true fear. A week later, Renata was at the store doing her buying when she felt someone looking at her. She looked to the side and saw Veronica at the end of the aisle in dark sunglasses and a scarf on her head. Renata thought of going the other way, but Veronica was already coming closer. We have to talk, Veronica said softly. We have nothing to discuss, and you can't come near me. It's about Lucas, and about things you're unaware of. Renata paused. What things? Come with me to the parking lot, only 5 minutes. Even though she knew better, Renata followed Veronica to the parking lot. They stopped between two cars hidden from prying eyes. Listen carefully. Veronica began removing her sunglasses. You may have taken my husband and my son, but you won't get my life. I didn't win over anyone. People chose me because you treated them poorly. How naive! Veronica gave a humorless laugh. You think you know Henrique. You think you know what sort of man he is. I know he's a good person, not like you. He had 3 secret affairs before you. 3. All workers of the company. Renata's heart sank. You're lying. Am I? Ask him about Sandra from accounts, or Patricia from cleaning, or Julia from the front desk. Even if that's true, it changes nothing. He loves me. He loved them too at first. Veronica came closer. You see the way it goes, right? They were all simple workers. They all fell for the rich boss, and they were all sacked when he grew tired of them. Renata tried not to show the word stung. Why are you telling me this? Because I'm giving you one last chance. take $2 million and vanish from our lives, go live far off and forget this family is real. And if I don't accept," Veronica smiled in a way that made Renata's blood run cold, "then you'll find out I'm not the only one you've ruined." "What do you mean?" "The other women Henrique sacked, some of them lost all. One even tried to take her own life, and they all blame me for not halting it." Renata was puzzled. "What does that have to do with me?" "I told them that you were the one who asked for them to be sacked, that you were jealous and wanted them gone." "That's a lie." "Yes, but they believe it, and they are very, very mad at you." "Mad?" Renata felt fear rising in her chest. "You made up lies about me." "I did. And you know what the best part is? One of them knows where you live, and she's not a steady person. Are you scaring me?" "I'm telling you plainly, take the money and leave, or the results will be awful." Renata looked into Veronica's eyes and saw a coldness that scared her. "You're truly bad." "I'm real and set on my way. 2 things you haven't learned yet." Veronica put her sunglasses back. "You have 48 hours to decide. After that, I cannot protect you anymore." She left, leaving Renata by herself in the parking lot, her heart beating fast and many doubts in her mind. When she arrived home, Henrique saw she was acting oddly. Did something happen? Renata looked at him, thinking of Veronica's words. "Henrique, can I ask you a question?" "Of course. Have you ever had other romances with company workers?" Henrique's face fully changed. "Why are you asking that?" "Just answer, please." Henrique sighed a deep breath. "I did before you. 2 relationships." Renata's heart dropped. "And what happened to them?" "They ended. Romances end, Renata." "They were sacked." "They were, but not because of the romances. One took money from the company, the other missed work too much." Renata wanted to believe him, but Veronica's words rang in her mind. "And did you say you loved them?" Henrique moved closer and held her shoulders. "Renata, what's happening? Why these queries? Just answer. Did you say you loved them?" "I thought I did, but it is not the same. With you, it's different." "How do I know it's different?" "Because you saved my son. Because you made me wish to be a better man." He touched her face. "Because with you I feel truly living." Renata looked into his eyes and saw honesty, but also fear. "Henrique, Veronica scared me today. She said she made up lies about me to others." "What kind of lies?" "That I asked you to sack your ex-girlfriends because of jealousy." Henrique went pale. "My God, Sandra." "Who is Sandra?" "One of the women I was with. She didn't take it well when we split. And if Veronica lied to her, what could happen?" Henrique quickly took his phone. "She's not steady. She's tried to harm herself before." "Who are you calling?" "Security. We need to be safe now." While Henrique was on his phone, Renata looked from the window and saw a weird car parked across the street. A car with a woman inside looking right at the house. The next morning, Renata woke up to glass breaking, ran to the window, and saw a rock had hit Henrique's car window. A note was stuck to the rock. "What was that?" Henrique showed up behind her, still in his sleep clothes. "Someone broke your car window." They went downstairs together. Henrique took the note and read it out loud. "You ruined my life. Now I will ruin yours, Sandra." "Oh my God," Renata whispered. She truly believes Veronica's untrue words. "Where's Lucas?" Henrique asked with concern. "Still sleeping. Let's go inside now." Inside the house, Henrique called the safety company. "I need 2 guards here at home today." While he was talking, the house phone rang. Renata answered. "Hello." "Renata." It was a woman's voice she didn't know. "Are you the one who ruined my life?" "Who is this Sandra Oliveira? Do you recall me?" "I don't know who you are." "Of course not. You never cared to know the people you ruined?" Renata signed to Henrique, who hurried to the phone. "Sandra, I never ruined anyone's life. I think they told you untrue things about me." "Lies. So it wasn't you who told Henrique to sack me because you were jealous?" "No, I didn't even know Henrique much then." "You're lying. Veronica, how you insisted he get rid of me." Henrique took the phone. Sandra, it's Henrique. Veronica spoke falsely to you. Henrique. Her voice changed, grew softer. Do you sometimes think of me, Sandra? You need to stop this. Renata has nothing to do with our past. She has everything to do with it. She's just like me, but you picked her. It's not like that. Listen. No, I've heard too many untrue words, Sandra screamed. If I can't be happy, neither can she. The call ended. Henrique looked at Renata worriedly. She's truly believing Veronica's untrue words. Renata said, and she's dangerous. Sandra was always not steady, but now... The phone rang once more. This time it was a different number. Hello? Henrique answered. Henrique, this is Patricia. Recall me? Henrique closed his eyes. Patricia, what do you want? I want justice. Veronica and your new little girlfriend planned against me. That's not true, Patricia. Veronica is making up untrue stories. You were always too weak to say your bad deeds. The call ended again. Within 5 minutes, 2 more women called with like stories, all sure that Renata had plotted against them. How many were there? Renata asked on the sofa, her hands shaking. At least 4, I know. They all believe you asked me to sack them. And now... Before Henrique could answer, Lucas ran down the stairs. Dad, there's a weird woman in the yard. They rushed to the window. A woman about 35 years old was at the gate looking at the house angrily. It was Sandra. How long has she been there? Henrique asked. I don't know. I woke and she was already there. Henrique took the phone to call the police, but Sandra began yelling from the gate. Renata, come out of there. Let's talk face to face. I'm not coming out, Renata yelled back. Then I'll come in. That gate can't stop me. Sandra began to shake the gate strongly. It was an electric gate, but she was set on it. Lucas, go upstairs, Henrique ordered. Now, I don't want to leave Aunt Renata. Go, sweetie, Renata said. All will be okay. Lucas went upstairs unwillingly. Outside, Sandra kept yelling, I know you're in there, Veronica. Sandra, Henrique yelled from the window. Leave. The police are on their way. I'm not leaving, not without speaking to her. It was then that Sandra took a big rock and threw it at the living room window. The glass broke and she reached in to open the window. Henrique, she's coming in, Renata yelled. Run! Go upstairs with Lucas! Renata rushed upstairs, but Sandra was already in the house. Renata, where are you? Let's end this for good. Henrique tried to halt Sandra on the stairs, but she shoved him with shocking strength. Move aside, Henrique. This is about me and her. In Lucas's bedroom, Renata locked the door and held the boy. Aunt Renata, I'm afraid. Me too, sweetie, but we'll be fine. Sandra banged on the door. Open this door. Open it now, Sandra. Stop. Henrique yelled behind her. Renata didn't do anything bad. Liar. She ruined my life. The banging on the door got louder. The door started to break. It was then that they heard police sirens coming closer. The police are coming, Henrique yelled. Leave before it's too late. Sandra stopped banging on the door. For a moment there was complete quiet. Then she started to cry. I just wanted to be loved, she cried sadly. I just wanted someone to really love me. Renata felt her heart ache. Even with fear, she felt sorry for that woman. Sandra, she said through the door, you will find someone who loves you, but not like this. How do you know you have all? You have the man I wished for. You have the life I dreamed of. I was a cleaner just 2 weeks ago. Do you think my life was always simple? Sandra was silent for a moment. Veronica said, Veronica lied. She lied to you, to me, to her own husband. She lies to all. The police came into the house. Within a few minutes, Sandra was taken away, still crying. When everything was over, Lucas held Renata close. Aunt Renata, is it over now? Renata looked at Henrique, who shook his head. Not yet, sweetie. Not yet. That night, after Lucas was asleep, Henrique and Renata sat on the balcony to talk. It cannot continue like this, Henrique said. Veronica is making innocent people harm you. How many more could show up? I don't know, but I know she won't stop. Renata sighed a deep breath. Henrique, maybe it's better if I leave. What? He turned to her surprised. You cannot mean that. Look at what's happening. A woman broke into our house today. She could have harmed Lucas. Renata, you cannot let Veronica win. It's not about winning or losing. It's about keeping safe those we love. Enrique held her hand. I love you, and I won't allow you to leave. And I love you. That's exactly why I cannot put you and Lucas at risk. Then we end her actions for good. How? Enrique was thinking for a moment. By getting truly married before all of Brazil, Veronica is betting our love isn't serious, that you'll flee when things get hard. If we marry openly, it shows we're truly serious about being together. Renata felt her heart beat fast. Enrique, are you asking me to marry you? I am. I know it's wild. I know we haven't known each other for long, but... He knelt down before her. Renata Santos, will you marry me? Tears fell down her face. Enrique, you don't need to answer now. Just think. We can have a large ceremony shown on TV, show all of Brazil that our love is true. And Veronica will have to agree that she lost, that she couldn't split us. Renata looked into his eyes. What if she tries something more bad? Then we deal with it together as a family. Before Renata could answer, the phone rang. Enrique answered. Hello? What, are you sure? Okay, we'll be right there. He hung up, looking worried. What happened? Renata asked. It was the detective. Veronica has left the city fast. Nobody knows her whereabouts. She fled, and there's more. She took all her money from her account, $500,000 in cash. Renata felt a cold fear in her gut. Enrique, someone who runs with cash isn't trying to hide. They're plotting something. That's what I'm thinking. What do we do? Enrique looked at her with strong will. We hurry. Everything marry next week and add so much safety to this house that no fly can enter without us knowing. And what if she appears at the wedding? Even better, then she is caught before all of Brazil. Renata breathed deeply. All right, I'll marry you. Enrique smiled and kissed her. It's going to be the wedding of the age. On the other side of the city, in a low-cost hotel, Veronica hung up her phone after hearing the whole talk. The chip she put in Henrique's phone worked perfectly. A wedding on TV. She chuckled to herself. What a great idea. She opened her suitcase and pulled out the money. $500,000 was enough to get the top people. If they want a wedding to remember, she whispered, they'll get a wedding to remember. A week before the wedding, the Cavalcante house became like a fort. Guards walked the yard, cameras were everywhere, and even the pizza delivery person needed to show ID. It looks like an army base, Renata said, drinking coffee in the kitchen. It's for a short time, Enrique said. After the wedding, Veronica will have to agree that she lost. Lucas ran down, phone in hand. Dad, the police called. Mommy was spotted in the city yesterday. Enrique nearly dropped his cup. Where, Jay? At a city center hotel. But when they got there, she had already vanished. She's here, Renata whispered the day before the wedding. The phone rang. It was Dr. Santos, the lawyer. Enrique Veronica has hired a well-known law group. They want to halt the wedding, saying the divorce isn't done yet. They could win, they could slow it down, but I will find a way. After he hung up, Enrique held Renata's hand. She cannot stop us, Dad, Lucas said, playing with his phone. Can I show you something? Of course. Lucas pressed play. Veronica's voice was heard clearly. Ricardo, have you sent the money? Great. Now get those people you know. I want them to show up at the wedding. Renata froze. What people? Lucas went to the next film. I don't want them to harm anyone's body. I want something smarter, something that will ruin her good name forever. My God, Enrique whispered. She's plotting something for our wedding. Is there more? Lucas said, going to another file. The plan is simple. In the middle of the ceremony, when everyone is watching, we will show her past. We will show who she truly is. Renata's heart dropped. What past? I have nothing to keep secret. The film continued. It doesn't matter if it's real or fake. The important thing is for the shame to be public before all of Brazil. Mommy is going to make up untrue stories about you, Lucas said with sadness. Enrique stood up angrily. I won't allow that to occur." "Calm down," Renata said. "If we know what she's planning, we can get ready. Since Lucas has all the films, the moment she tries to strike, we'll fight back with the truth." "Aunt Renata, aren't you afraid?" "I am, but I'm also mad. And sometimes anger is more powerful than fear." Enrique hugged them both. "Then we fight together." That afternoon, Renata's phone rang. Number unknown. "Hello, Renata. This is Vanya Santos." "I don't know any Vanya." "I'm your sister." Renata nearly laughed. "I don't have a sister." "I have proof you left a daughter. If you don't want this to turn into a big public mess, we should talk." "Listen here," Renata said strongly. "I don't know what lie Veronica paid you to tell, but it won't affect me." "I don't know what Veronica you're talking about." "Of course you do. And on my wedding day, when you show up to cause trouble, you'll have a surprise waiting." Renata ended the call. Lucas, who had heard it all, smiled. "You're getting mad just like I get with Mommy. Sometimes we need to be strong with bad people. Sweetie, can I tell you something? I don't miss Mommy now." "Why?" "Because now I know what it's like to have a true mom." Renata held the boy, knowing that she had already gained what was most important, a family. 2 days before the wedding, Renata was at the store when she felt someone behind her. She looked to the side and saw Veronica leaning on a car in dark sunglasses. Instead of running, Renata went straight to her. "What do you want, Veronica?" "To talk like two polite women." "Just say it." Veronica removed her sunglasses. She had dark rings under her eyes and messy hair. "I'm giving you $2 million to vanish from our lives." "I already told you I don't want your money. You'll be sorry." Veronica moved closer. "You know what I learned about you." "What did you learn?" "That I worked my whole life, truly. I learned you had a romance with the neighbor of the house where you worked, married with kids." Renata gave a laugh. "Make up another one." "And that you got pregnant by him and ended the pregnancy." "A lie." Veronica smiled slyly. "I have pictures. I have people who saw. I have everything. You have nothing because none of that occurred." "Yes, it did. And tomorrow all of Brazil will know." Renata looked into her eyes deeply.